Hello, my name is Haley Tilley, and I'm here to talk to you today about the legendary Man in Black, the one and only Johnny Cash. Now, Johnny Cash had a lot of ups and downs in his life, but he will always be remembered as one of the most influential country artists of today. Now, I'm about to talk to you about the man behind the scene, not necessarily his career, but the things that made him who he was. Now, he was born in Kingsland, Arkansas on February 26th in 1932 under the name J.R. Cash. A two-letter or one-letter name wasn't very different for that time period during the Great Depression. So we fast forward a little bit, and it's now 1950. And in 1950, J.R. Cash decided to join the Air Force. And when he joined the Air Force, he was asked to change his name into a different name because apparently the Air Force didn't like the name J.R. So he changed his name to John R. Cash. And he worked in Germany, which is where he first started playing his music, and he first started getting groups together. And one of the first groups he got together was the Landsberg Barbarians. And the Landsberg Barbarians is where John ended up starting some of his more popular songs, the first versions of them, even though one or two do have some controversy over whether he actually wrote them or not. Then, 4 years later, in 1954, he was honorably dispatched, and he moved back home and married his sweetheart Vivian, in which they then moved to Memphis. And it was after he married Vivian that he kept going around, and he would play at fairs and local events. And then by 1955, he was signed by Sam Phillips of Sun Records. Now, Sam had said to him, he's like, "Hey, John, we can't use your name. You gotta pick a stage name. You gotta get another name." And so John then changes his name a second time to be Johnny Cash. And that is where we start the beginning of the legendary man. Now, Johnny Cash, he's very well known for his songs, his music, his TV show, which brought together a whole bunch of different genres. But what a lot of people might not know is about the man behind the stage, about the man behind the curtain, and what happened to him during the time that he was famous. So from 1955 until the very day he died. Now, Johnny Cash, he was okay for the first 2 or 3 years of his fame, because in 1957 he became the top recording artist, and not too long after that he started to have drug abuse. He would take the drugs to try and soften the blows that touring had put on him. So he would do drugs, he would drink alcohol, he'd be with other women, and that caused a lot of strain on his and Vivian's marriage. Needless to say, in 1966, he and Vivian had divorced after having 3 daughters. Now, in 1968, he married a woman named June Carter. Now, June Carter was one of the women that he had an affair with when he was married to Vivian. And she was also the one who tried to convince him to get help with his drug addiction. He didn't listen to her the first couple times, but finally she got through to him in I think it was 1968. However, by the time 1968 had happened, he had been arrested at least 7 times for public indecency, drunk and disorderly. He was even arrested for picking flowers in somebody's garden when he was way drunk, or when he tried to smuggle a lot of drugs across the Mexican border in a guitar case. There's also rumor that in 1965 he accidentally set a fire on forest, over 508 acres burning of the Los Padres National Forest, because his truck caught on fire. And now I only found one source for that, so I'm not sure if that's completely true, but it would make a kind of interesting story to tell. Not only did he have trouble with the law and with drugs, he also had a lot of trouble with love. Now, I had mentioned that he had divorced his first wife, Vivian, and then married another woman named June Carter. June Carter was part of a singing group with her and her sisters and her mother. After he had married her, in the 70s, he and her sisters and she all went on a tour. All went on a tour together, and it was during that tour that Cash met June's sister Anita. Now, this ended up having another affair with Anita. So while he was married to June, he was also having an affair with Anita. Now, a year after, according to rumor, a year after June had given birth to John Carter Cash, which was Johnny Cash's only son, Anita had become pregnant with Cash's child as well. She aborted the child, and then they were able to keep this scandal under wraps until 2003 when Johnny Cash dies. Even though there was a lot of missteps in his life, he ended up becoming one of the more popular and more influential people of any kind of music. After his death in 2003 on September 12th, at the age of 71 in Nashville, Tennessee, don't know where I was going with that sentence. So in 2003, he died on September 12th at age 71 in Nashville, Tennessee from respiratory failure due to his diabetes, which he had had for a long time. Now, in spite of the missteps and all the things that he had done, he has gotten many awards over the years. He had gotten 13 Grammys, 9 Country Music Awards, and then he got elected into the Country Music Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and then after his death, he was elected into the Gospel Music Hall of Fame. Not only that, but he was also awarded in 2013, I believe. In 2013, he was given a limited edition forever stamp. So if you have a stamp with Johnny Cash on it, or I don't know what the stamp looked like, but it was dedicated to him. So if you have that stamp, it's forever useful. Very nice. And in 2005, he had a movie come out about him called I Walk the Line, which is based off of one of his songs, which he had written during the time that he was having the affair with June, apparently, it was him talking to himself about trying to stay true to Vivian, even though we all know that didn't work out. So, Johnny Cash, he was not the best person, but he was definitely very influential, and he will always be a legendary figure in country music. Thank you. Have a nice night.